For years, the Liberals have told Canadians that there was no business case for Canadian liquefied natural gas.
All right, well, Mr. Speaker, so we're already starting to see the effects of these bad policies the government's putting in place. Enbridge is investing $700 million in an American pipeline down in Texas. Shortly after the American election, TC Energy's approved over $1 billion worth of capital spending on 3 natural gas plants. Now, we know that Canada has a strategic advantage for producing natural gas, but in particular for producing liquefied natural gas. We have a cold climate, as we're experiencing outside right now, which is strategically advantageous for trying to produce it. We're also the closest point to Europe. We're the closest point to Asia. So logistically, it makes the most sense to be producing LNG in Canada. But if we have our main energy producing companies going down to the United States, and these companies also are the largest investors in wind turbines, solar farms, things like that, they're chasing that investment out.
There would be no pipelines to Tidewater, no East Coast or even West Coast export terminals, no urgency to get our natural gas to global markets. Justin Trudeau said it plainly. Exporting Canadian liquefied natural gas didn't make economic sense. So projects were stalled, canceled, or regulated to death. Investors walked. Countries that came hat in hand, like Greece and Japan, were told no. Jobs vanished. Canada, one of the most gas-rich countries on earth, was told to just sit this one out by the very people in charge. And now, Canada is importing liquefied natural gas from Egypt, of all places. Here's what's actually happening. A full LNG cargo, roughly 150,000 cubic meters of LNG, was loaded at Egypt's Idku LNG terminal on the Mediterranean coast. The shipment was arranged by Total Energies, one of the world's largest energy companies, and loaded onto an LNG tanker bound for Canada. The gas was cooled to minus 162 degrees, liquefied, and shipped across the Atlantic Ocean and sent to Canada's LNG import terminal in St. John, New Brunswick, where it will be regasified and then fed into our domestic system.
I think there was a view prior to a few years ago that the need for natural gas would be relatively minor and relatively short term. And I think what we all realize post the Ukraine, post what's happening with AI, that natural gas is going to be a transition fuel that's in greater demand in Germany and for a longer period of time. Canada has the opportunity to be a great partner to Germany in that regard. What has changed is, as of June, Canada started shipping its first LNG shipments. We have the enviable situation of producing the lowest carbon footprint natural gas of any country in the world. It's because of the way we liquefy the natural gas. We do it with clean energy. And so that's a tremendous opportunity to work together with Germany to deal with the energy transition Germany has and supply a great product that's low in carbon and produced in conjunction with First Nations.
So let's be clear about the absurdity here. Canadian natural gas, well, it exists. Canadian demand for that natural gas exists. Obviously, I mean, we're importing it. Canadian infrastructure, pipelines east from Western gas fields, well, that's what doesn't exist because the Liberals won't allow it.
So we are in a situation in the short term where we will do what we can to contribute to the global supply of energy by increasing our capacities in the short term and explore ways to see if it makes sense to export LNG and if there's a business case for it to export LNG directly to Europe. And that's something that economic conversations are going on between businesses in Canada and in Germany. But in the medium term and long term, Canada can and will position itself to be a key supplier of energy to the world in a net zero economy.
Instead of moving British Columbian and Alberta gas east and exporting Canadian LNG to the world from both coasts, We're importing foreign LNG produced under foreign regulations by foreign labor, shipped thousands of kilometers at a higher cost with higher emissions, if that matters to you. And then we're calling that normal. Even better, Egypt isn't exactly swimming in surplus gas itself. It has struggled with declining domestic production and rising internal demand, and yet it still has functioning LNG export terminals, the same terminals Canada was told not to bother building here because business. So when the Liberals said there was no business case, what they really meant was no political will, no tolerance for pipelines, no appetite to upset their activist friends, and of course, no fairness for Western industries, because global LNG markets clearly exist. European buyers exist. Atlantic shipping routes exist, obviously. Private companies are making money, just not in Canada. It's a government-made bottleneck.
Canada is a little late to the party for LNG. We're behind Australia, Qatar, Indonesia, Malaysia, and of course the USA now. Can Canada still compete for more LNG on the West Coast or even on the East Coast?
Thank you, Mark Carney. Thank you, Justin Trudeau. Those two said there was no business case for LNG over the last decade. And as you correctly point out, all the other countries knew better. And in the state during the time when the last lost Liberal decade, where Carney and Trudeau were blocking these projects here, we saw 8 new plants go up in the States. Qatar doubled its production and signed supply agreements with France. We've seen other countries unleash their natural gas potential. I understand now Alaska is looking at exporting LNG. So you're right. That is the lost Liberal decade. But no, we're not too late. There's still going to be massive demand for LNG because it is the cheapest, one of the cheapest and cleanest ways to power an electrical grid without coal. And so if we move now, if we reject a 4th Liberal term and elect a new Conservative government that will rapidly approve major projects like LNG Canada Part 2, LNG Quebec, and others, then we can get our gas to the world. We have huge advantages over the Americans. It takes 11 days to ship to Asia from BC. It takes 20 days to ship from the U.S. Gulf Coast. We have cold weather. It's nice and crisp out here today. That reduces the cost of liquefaction by 25%. Well, how do you liquefy a gas? You cool it down. Well, we've already got a natural cooling system. It's called our climate. And also, we have abundant energy to power that liquefaction. So we have enormous advantages over the Americans, the Qataris, and countless others. We just need to get this Liberal government out of the way and elect a new Conservative government that will get it done for a change.
Canada should have been exporting its own gas to allies, creating jobs, lowering global emissions by displacing coal. Again, if you care about that stuff, I don't. I love coal. And strengthening energy security. So instead, we're importing LNG from Egypt. There's no business case, they said. Turns out there was, but the only thing missing from our business case was a federal government willing to let Canada act like a serious energy country. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. The Liberals have long said that we cannot build our energy infrastructure because we're in a climate emergency. To sign the petition and to send them a message, go to noclimateemergency.com.